Hi Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. This is going to be your general reading for March 2023. This is a general reading and the messages may not resonate with everyone, so I suggest that you check back to your Moon and Rising sign videos. That may resonate more. In order to gain any insight into your own personal situation requires a personal reading. And this is where I take your name, your birth date, and your sun sign along with your questions, and I pluck you out of the collective and I do a reading for you. You can go to my About box section of the channel here, and there you will find the reading packages, which consist of the number of minutes, the number of questions in that time frame, and also the price. If you are interested, you can simply email me there at hiddenlotustarot@gmail.com. and say, hey, Tara, I want a 60-minute reading. And, then I'll email you back along with the instructions. What is it going to take, the booking instructions and a payment link, and then we will go from there. So I have with me the Radiant White deck. I have with me the Levita Sibila, and we're going to wrap the reading up with the Golden Nostradamus. I hope everyone got an opportunity to see the Valentine's Day reading. I posted it up like a week before Valentine's Day. So you can just go on the channel and search for the Valentine's Day reading and check it out. So with that being said, I'm going to turn the camera around. We're going to put one more shuffle and rifle on the deck, and then we will pull the cards, okay? Hopefully the camera will stay in focus. All right, there we go. So one more rifle. And one more shuffle. Well, actually, that was a shuffle. This is a rifle. That's a rifle. That's what it's called, in case you didn't know. So let's cut the deck. 9 cards down. First card out, the 10 of Wands. The Hierophant. The 5 of Swords. So now I have 2 5s. The Hierophant is a 5, and then the 5 of Swords. Next row, the Chariot. Wow, the Tower. Well, there's a huge warning with that, and I'll get to that in just a second. And then the Strength card. Okay. Last row, the 6 of Swords. The High Priestess. Well, that's interesting. And the Queen of Cups. And what is the energy over the entire reading? It is the Queen of Swords. Well, right off the bat, I'm going to say, even though that this is an earth sign reading, remember I said to you, well, check back to your moon and rising sign. So these 2 cards could be a reference to your moon and rising sign, but they could also be a reference to either what you do or how you do it. But it can also be an indication of the qualities that you might need to embody in order to work through the situation. So I said to you, well, here's what's interesting, is I have a cross in the center of the reading of major arcana cards. And the major arcana cards, for those of you who are new to my channel and my style of reading, the major arcana are your spiritual lessons. The pip cards or numbered cards are things that occur on the mundane level, okay? Issues that, everyday life, the 3rd dimension. And one major arcana holds more sway than all of these pip cards put together, okay? But you have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. And it makes a huge cross right down the center of the spread. Now, let me first get to the major warning that I saw here. I have seen this combination of the Chariot and the Tower show up when it talks about some kind of vehicle accident, okay? So do be careful driving If you're traveling, watch out, try to preempt other drivers. Don't drive fast. All of the common sense things, wear your seatbelt, don't drink and drive. Um, turn on your lights on low if it's high, if it's lots of fog. So all the common sense things that we know about driving. I will tell you that I did a reading for someone once before, many years ago, and this exact combination came up, and I gave her that particular warning. And then 2 days later, she emailed me back and she went, "Oh my God, my friend and I were sitting in a coffee shop. I think she said it was Starbucks, and some old lady who was driving foot hit the gas and she drove into the building right by the table where they were sitting." So it can literally be that, okay? Even here, if you may be traveling on the water, around the water, by the water, near the water, again, be careful, okay? Boating accidents, jet ski accidents, people falling off of stuff. So do be careful with that. So that is the first warning that I wanted to give you. Now, it's not all bad news and doom and gloom. It really isn't. But what I do see here in the center is a dust up, okay? And I'll explain that to you in a moment. So past, present, future interplay of the cards. The 10 of Wands. First, it's a 10. And the number 10 indicates that something is about to change, okay? Now, normally the 10 of Wands for me is an indication that you are doing too much. Maybe you are doing things for people that you should not be doing. As Virgos will give you the shirt off their back. They'll give you a kidney. They'll donate blood. They'll sacrifice themselves. They'll do whatever because it's the sign of service. Okay, but sometimes Virgos can do too much. So because we're always trying to help. I'm a Virgo myself. So the 10 of Wands can be an indication that if you are taking on other people's responsibilities, you are robbing them of the opportunity to learn about their own cause and effect, otherwise known as karma. Okay? And so to me, this card is this whole idea that you've got a lot of irons in the fire and you're just struggling under the weight and you're trying to just get to where you're going. Now, I don't know, maybe some of you have been trying to move. See that house there? And you're just kind of putting one foot in front of the other without really paying attention to where you're going. So I always say this card, one of the key words is burden, but I always say for me, burdens are always feel like they're on your back, they're weighing your shoulders down. So to me, this is not really a burden. It is simply that you are carrying too many things. You are doing too many things. And so what do? You half that. Put half of it down so that you can manage the 5 wands that would be there, okay? A burden shared is a burden half, is what I always say. Then we come to the Chariot card. The Chariot is a card of movement. It is a card that deals with self-mastery, okay? And what I mean by that is it is only through being able to master ourselves, the way we think, our actions, our words, our deeds, our emotions, that we can move forward with something. The Chariot is a war vehicle, is it not? So it's not an easy ride. It's not a luxury ride. It's dusty, it's bumpy, it's long, and sometimes it can be quite dangerous. So you'll notice the charioteer has no reins by which to even use these, to get these 2 sphinxes under control, but he's doing it simply by being able to control himself. Now, this is a 7. And 7s always indicate a time of questioning oneself. It is a time of self-doubt, okay? But the 7 also, it is a mystic number. So it says that if you can focus and you can concentrate, gain self-mastery and control over the situation and yourself, then you can move forward. But the Tower comes. And I feel that what the card is saying, besides what I told you at the beginning, that warning there, that the idea of mastering yourself, of self-mastery, is going to shake some of you to your core and to your foundation. In other words, the Tower card can be about the idea of things that you have built up in your own life or in your own mind, your belief systems, outdated modes of behavior, and that's going to come crashing down. The Tower is the only man-made structure in the tarot deck, okay? And now sometimes this can literally be something happening and you feel as though the rug's been pulled out from under you. But it can also be the idea of the aha moment, the crown being knocked off, that epiphany, something that, oh, suddenly it comes to you and everything makes sense. But when that happens, everything that you thought before, you did before, tends to crumble to the ground. So the Tower card is a card of destruction, but the destruction is designed to clear the air so that you can rebuild on new ground. So this could be the collapse of a relationship. It could be the collapse of a job. It could be the collapse of anything that you thought was safe and secure. You find out that it is not, because nothing is static in the universe. Out of this, we will be gaining strength, okay? So the strength card is the whole idea. Again, it is somewhat of the self-mastery energy in the sense that it is saying in order to face your fears or to meet challenges head on, you need to be kind and gentle first with yourself. It is a learning curve, is it not? Okay? And to face whatever the issues are that seem to be bothering you. Now, because it is an 8, it is usually a good number. It is a karmic number, which means that situations are going to be moving and they will be moving in a more positive direction or manner. And indeed, we see the 6 of Swords coming through, okay? The 6 of Swords is an indication that previously, which we see up here, the 5 of Swords, and I'll be getting back to these two cards, that things were rough. Maybe there was some arguments, some disagreements, some opposition, some fight that you've been having either within yourself or with a person or other people or about a situation, some difficulty. And the 6 of Swords comes along to say you will be moving, if not literally, then perhaps metaphorically, from rougher waters to smoother waters. Okay? Sometimes it can be an indication of travel around water, by water, over water, near water. However, it is a 6 and it is a Swords card. 6s indicate balance. And what it says is that you have gotten to a point now where you can maintain some balance and you're going to eventually be able to control things a little bit better around you, particularly in the realm of thoughts, ideas, belief, communications, of that sort. But you do also need to remember that as you make this journey, you're still going to be taking your thoughts with you. Okay? Then we come to the High Priestess. Now, most people tend to think that the High Priestess and the Hierophant are a couple. They are not. The High Priestess is the couple, is the mate to the Magician. He has no mate. Okay? So the High Priestess is this idea about trusting whatever your intuition is telling you. This card, they are similar in energy in the sense that this card says, listen to your higher self. So this could be the idea here, the Hierophant, that maybe you go to somebody who has more knowledge than you and you can ask them of advice and they can counsel you and lead you. It also represents hierarchy and hierarchical structures. So it can represent things like universities and hospitals and small corporations, not major corporations, but small corporations. It is ruled by the planet Venus. It represents the sign of Taurus. So in that way, in talking about Venus, it is about right relationships, balance, harmony, love, fairness. But in being ruled by Taurus, Taurus is either going to be about your own personal finances, that you own, everything that you own, earn, or owe, okay? But it could also be about your values and your value systems. Now, the Hierophant can sometimes be an indication of marriage, okay? But it can also be an indication of simply contracts, contractual issues, all right? But here with the High Priestess, it's a different thing. This is about trusting whatever your gut is telling you, or if you are picking up messages that don't make sense. Maybe you're saying the same number over and over again, or you're hearing the same song over and over again, or the same turn of phrase comes up over and over again, or you just get that hinky feeling that something is not quite right, or you're feeling something but you're not quite sure exactly what it is. Then the card suggests that you do meditation, okay, and that you trust in whatever it is that your intuition is telling you. It also says that you have the ability to make your own decisions in your own best interest. The High Priestess will typically be a female of extreme, high intelligence, She knows a lot. Maybe she's quite studious, but she can also be quite quiet. She doesn't share a lot of information, and sometimes this card can be the idea of keep yourself to yourself until you can see yourself further in a situation. And then we come to the Queen of Cups. Typically a water sign would be Cancer, Scorpio, and or Pisces. But in this instance, the Queen of Cups is coming in to talk about your emotions. What it is you are emotionally focused on. What it is that you are feeling emotionally. To me, this ties back into the High Priestess. It also indicates a time of perhaps psychic ability, okay, and psychic sensitivities coming into play. We do have in a few days, 4 days, I think on the 20th, might be the 22nd, we have the new moon, the full moon in Pisces. Now, coming back to this Five of Swords, it is a 5. And 5s always speak about ups and downs. It is a changing energy. And it talks about the idea of maybe having to stand up for yourself in a dispute. But it also cautions that you don't buy into that too much, because then both parties, whoever you're quarreling with, will sink to any levels. Both you and that person may sink to any level to win. There's also an indication here that it is a victory, that you have won. You see the other two people walking away, but there is some question or some doubt here. See the 2 swords over the shoulder? Should I have said that? Should I not have said that? What do they think? What do they not think? So again, this is the mental realm. Okay, you can see the clouds are all at an angle. They look disjointed. Look at the look on the person's face. I don't know if you can see that. And so typically to me, this card says that you have won this particular round or this particular battle, but it can also presage breakups, separations, and typically will say that if you've argued with someone and you don't really quite know why, that should become apparent to you pretty soon. And indeed, I see from here to here, when I said there's a dust up, I've seen the Tower show up when someone has an emotional outburst. Okay. And so indeed, there's going to be more coming here. All right. Now, the Queen of Swords is usually an air sign. She represents Libra, but she can also be Gemini and or Aquarius. And she is someone who the truth is very important to her. She's no bullshit. She doesn't sugarcoat. She tells you exactly what it is. Sometimes that makes people very, very uncomfortable, but that's what the sword of truth is about. Okay? There is a truth, but that truth can be quite painful and quite inconvenient. Nobody wants to hear it, right? She can be a doctor, a scientist, not just a doctor, a surgeon, an oral surgeon, a scientist, a researcher, a writer, an editor, a policeman, a soldier, any place where there are going to be sharp tools and keen intellect needed to get the job done. So she can even be a counselor and or a mediator. And so if you're in this situation, but she's cool and she's rational and she can look at things in an objective manner. So this might be someone coming in to help you, but it can also be the idea that this is the qualities that you're going to need to embody. And I would say, backed up this Queen of Swords with the High Priestess, she too can be some kind of researcher, librarian, a scientist, someone who's extremely smart, but maybe doesn't demonstrate that all the time, okay? So what can I look at? Well, I can't look at this card because it represents people. And so these could even be you and someone else, because this is a 2. 2s always represent decisions, choices, options, oppositions, whether you are opposed in yourself about something or someone is actively opposing you. So I get the sense that these are 2 people and the energies are quite different. And so there may be some kind of opposition between the 2 of you. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is to see what additional information that can be gathered. There are no pentacles here, by the way. There's wands and there's swords, and that's it. And the 1 cup. So this is, to me, a situation in which thoughts, beliefs, perceptions, ideas, and communications are relevant, as well as your focus and your determination and your willpower. Okay. So let me start with the 10 of Wands. Hi, Hannah. Nothing about the Ten of Wands. Five of Swords. And this card can sometimes tell you to be calm and strong in the face of unexpected events or situations so that you are able to deal with them accordingly. She is cool, calm, and collected under pressure. Okay? Unflappable. So let me move to the Five of Swords. In a sense, the same energy, but expressed differently. What am I looking at? Five of Swords. Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. The Five of Swords tells me nothing about the five next to any of these cards. Okay, that only leaves me the Six. With the High Priestess. It may be warning you not to proceed with current plans, as there are some aspects that have not been revealed or considered appropriately. You are asked to wait until you have all of the relevant details. With the 10, it is an indication of travel, a journey, a vacation, or a holiday, or even a change of residence. Remember I said some of you may be trying to move. It may involve a major decision which will ultimately lead to movement of some kind. Here we see it. But it is also a message to look carefully at all aspects of the situation, as there may be some hidden traps or pitfalls. It also tells you to look out for unnecessary expenditures. So something is happening here, Virgo, and I'm not quite exactly sure what that is. What I will say is there is definite movement. There are definitely, I also feel there's some kind of revelation here, okay, with this particular Tower card. Let me turn the card back over because it has us being focused on our emotions, being in our emotions about something, all right? So if I had to pick one card, I would like to know, what is this argument about here? And this card too talks about separations, divorces, movement, leaving things behind. Indeed. There's lots of water depicted here in this particular spread. There's five people, the three people on the beach, someone rowing across the a lake or whatever. She's sitting, I don't know why this always to me reminds me of the White Cliffs of Dover, but it does. And then if you have this particular deck of cards, you can look here and see that she's seated in front of a large body of water. The veil there kind of blocks it along with the two pillars. So there's water here. Even the chariot is seated in front of a river of water. So let's take a look at this Five of Swords. The Prigione. It is like the Nine of Swords. This is someone who feels stuck. They can't move. They don't have the resources to figure out how to get out of a particular situation. It could also be someone stalling, okay? They're refusing to move. The Sospiri, more water showing up. This is a card of the fear, perhaps, of the future. It speaks about discordant energy. You see the broken arrow? It can be the idea that maybe you think love has left you behind, or there's been a missed opportunity. But it is not necessarily what is happening in the present. It is the fear and anxiety of what may happen in the future. Getting left behind. And finally, the Ammalato. Now, the Ammalato is an interesting card. Virgo is the sign of mind, body, spirit connection. So this is about your health. Do you have, there's 24 hours in the day, you know, are you working, eating, and sleeping properly? So this could be about, you know, how are you eating? Are you sleeping? Are you exercising? Are you, you know, not overworking and overtaxing yourself? Okay. So the card, the Ammalato, deals with the idea of health. So this could literally be the idea that you need to take a break. It could also be the idea that you might have to visit hospitals or places you would rather not go, even prisons, okay? Asylums, things of that nature. But then the card can also be an indication of situations and people that are making you ill, toxic people, toxic situations. And so the card counsels that, you need to take a break, step away from that so that you can, maybe you need to leave it all together. I don't know. Okay? That's what the card says. And I do feel that for some of you, as I say, there's going to be a dust up, but then you're going to get a chance to move away. And this talks about, for me, once the dust up or the fight has occurred, this whole idea of looking back over what you missed before. Because I think for some of you, the signs were there. Perhaps you just did not see them. Perhaps you just followed the rules. You just did whatever they told you to do. Or you just did what society says you should do. Because sometimes that's what that card can mean. Following the societal norms. Okay? Now, what is the... I think it will all become clear to you at some point. And when I say past, I mean the near or distant past. This can be from yesterday out to last year. And when I say the future, the near or distant future, that could be tomorrow out to the end of the year. So here is your card, the Golden Nostradamus. Oh. And I want you to see how the cards just fell out like that. Okay. That is the cat. Now, this is very interesting. Let me pull this up for you. It's the first card in this deck. And the card says, so I think this is a warning that perhaps as you try to move along, something, most definitely the card speaks to unexpected events out of the blue. With sweet little words, oh, it's upside down. With sweet little words and a pleasant face, the traitor convinces and gains your good graces. This is an ill-omened card that predicts betrayal or encourages you to reflect on the trust you have undeservedly placed in someone or in a situation you believe to be safe. It can even predict unfaithfulness in love. Well, yeah, I can see this as the woman. She shows up sometimes as the woman that nobody knew anything about. The side chick. So, the way I would counsel you on this is to, again, rethink. Something's going to occur that's going to have you rethinking, whatever the situation is, your belief systems, outdated modes of behavior coming out of the blue, okay? And by trusting what your intuition is telling you, or at least paying attention to the undercurrents, okay, then you're going to be able to gain the clarity that you need. So that is what I have for you, Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising for March 2023. I hope that helps. Until next time, it's dark. Until next time, be well.